I'm usually the only one who really cares. I'm like a lifeboat. And I will tell you, I think I have the hardest job of any professional. I'm not like a cardiologist. I'm not even like an oncologist. No one's ever had.
Guilty.
Every case is different. Every case is fact-specific. But it's never my job to determine whether my client is 100% guilty or 100%.
I'm going to do everything that I can to move his case as quickly as possible. I understand that the government has a great amount of electronic devices that they have to download and provide.
A bit about Agnifilo's history. He received a bachelor's degree in philosophy and political science from Connecticut College in 1986. In 1990, he received his Juris degree from Brooklyn Law School, and while there, even received the American Jurisprudence Award for Outstanding Performance in Trial.
Can you come say a few words at the microphone? Who's going to be boxing Jesse and Delilah? Put it down in front.
I think that we made the points that we've been wanting to make. I think it came out. Mr. Combs is a fighter.
I imagine it's thousands. I mean, you know, and I'm not really sure what the baby oil has to do with anything. I don't know where the number 1,000 came.
Sean Diddy Combs is no stranger to controversy. But this time, it's his own attorney dropping a bombshell. What could possibly make a high-profile lawyer step away from one of the biggest stars in the game? Stick around as we uncover the shocking courtroom confession that's got everyone talking. Trust me, you wouldn't want to miss the details. But of course, before we go any further, make sure first that you subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell for more updates and videos like this. Let's get started.
Post bail, which is exactly what they are going to try and do.
Right, and he has brought in new lawyers to try and get this done.
Here's
get to the lawyers in a second. I just don't know how has the argument changed?
25 of the 120 individuals who are in these cases were minors at the time of the acts complained of.
We believe in him wholeheartedly. He didn't do these things. This was a 10-year relationship. There's no coercion. There's no crime. There's basically just, you know, someone who brought a civil case and now is finding themselves as a witness in a criminal
For
case.
the past several years, Agnifilo has been lead counsel for the Agnifilo Intrater law firm. That leads us to Agnifilo's notable cases, beginning with the federal trial of NXIVM cult leader Keith Raniere.
Picture this, a slow-motion car crash you just can't look away from. That's the scene surrounding P. Diddy right now. His once solid empire, it's shaking like it's built on jelly, with scandal after scandal dropping like beats in a rap battle. Every day seems to bring a new bombshell. And now, the feds are closing in. As for Diddy's lawyer, word on the street is he's had enough, stepping down after what must have been countless sleepless nights. With his defender out of the picture, the big question is, what's next?
Imagine if you're the CIA, you're like, okay, we're looking for people who have gone through these things in their life that have curated this kind of like personality type.
Well, isn't it just like part of the gig? Like here's
ready,
a
he's focused. He has been ready to defend this case since he first found out about this case. Nothing has changed from his perspective. I obviously would much prefer to fight this case with him out of jail, and we are going to try to bring that about through additional legal process.
Diddy is facing a storm of lawsuits and accusations, but his legal team isn't backing down. They've called the claims baseless, labeling them as money grabs, and maintain his innocence. At his first pretrial hearing, Diddy pleaded not guilty.
He believes he's innocent. I believe he's innocent, and we're going to fight this case with all of our might until we don't have to fight any longer. We're not giving up by a long shot. I told Mr. Combs I'm going to try and get his case to trial as quickly as possible.
I don't think it was 1,000. Let's just say it's a lot, okay?
What prosecutors were arguing is not only does your client pose a flight risk, because obviously he's incredibly wealthy, has access to planes and a lot of staff, even though you said he turned over his passport to you months ago. They were also worried about him being able to interfere with witnesses and calling them. And so I guess the question is, how do you assure the court that that won't happen if prosecutors are saying this is someone who's attempted to bribe security staff and has already and interfered with witnesses?
So I think the most important thing, even more important than the passport, is that Mr. Combs came to New York on September 5th. As soon as we realized that this indictment was going to be coming down in a matter of weeks, maybe months, but sometime soon, Mr. Combs.
When Judge Robin Tarnofsky denied his bail, he calmly sipped some water, glanced at his family, and was escorted out of the courtroom. His lawyer, Mark Agnifilo, made it clear that Diddy isn't giving up, saying, "Mr. Combs is a fighter. He's going to fight this to the end. He's innocent." Agnifilo also plans to appeal the bail decision.
But everything's on the government's timetable, nothing's on the defendant's timetable, and they're going to have to accommodate me and him and give us a quick trial, and I'm going to be pushing for that.
Acknowledging Diddy's flaws, the lawyer admitted to his past struggles with substance use and unhealthy relationships, but pointed out that he's now in therapy and receiving treatment. Agnifilo suggested the case revolves around a long-term relationship that ended badly due to infidelity, subtly referring to Diddy's decade-long relationship with Cassie Ventura.
In Cassie's lawsuit, where she talked about these freak-off parties that he would have at hotels in, she said, in Atlanta, Miami, L.A., and New York.
And they were essentially, but the U.S. attorney for the Southern District of New York, who filed this, laid this out at a press conference and specifically addressed the freak-offs.
The freak-offs sometimes last.
Regarding the controversial freak-offs, Agnifilo argued that they were consensual, stating, "Is it exploitation? Not if everyone wants to be there." He claims the authorities were intruding on Diddy's personal life. As for the firearm allegations, he's clarified they belong to his hired security and not Diddy himself. Similar accusations in other lawsuits have also been strongly denied by Diddy and his team.
On this. First of all, what was your reaction to this newest and latest allegation of more than 100 additional victims?
Hi, Nicole. Nice to be with you. You know, it's the proverbial snowball coming down the hill. You know, when you've been living a lifestyle, not just one or two incidences, but a lifestyle which Diddy seems to have led, there's a lot of people, a lot of activity out there. And to be honest, I don't think it's over. I don't think we're at the precipice yet. We're going to see these new claims come out in different states, different jurisdictions. The additional ones will follow, and people are kind of jumping on the bandwagon. And the indictment and the initial civil lawsuits gave a lot of these victims the courage to come forward. There's probably why they didn't come forward before, and now we're seeing it.
Threatened and coerced victims to get them to participate in the freak-offs. He used the embarrassing and sensitive recordings he made of the freak-offs as collateral against the victims.
Now, they say they found those recordings.
Sean Diddy Combs' lawyer recently admitted he broke jail phone rules while at Brooklyn's Metropolitan Detention Center, MDC, according to Vibe. Prosecutors accused him of using other inmates' phone access cards, PACs, to contact witnesses and sway public opinion during his legal battles. Diddy's attorney, Alexandra Shapiro, countered these claims, explaining that sharing PAC numbers is a common practice at MDC and doesn't amount to obstruction of justice. She also argued that there's no proof Diddy's calls were any different from those he made using his own PAC. In a recent twist, Judge Arun Subramanian ordered prosecutors to destroy notes taken from Diddy's cell during a raid. Prosecutors had argued that the notes were part of their case, but this move highlights the ongoing tensions in the legal battle, Vibe reported. Meet Mark Agnifilo, Diddy's lead attorney. Mark Agnifilo earned his bachelor's degree in philosophy and political science from Connecticut College in 1986, as noted in his law firm's resume. He went on to receive his J.D. from Brooklyn Law School in 1990, where he was awarded the American Jurisprudence Award for Excellence in Trial Advocacy.
Agnifilo stayed with the U.S. Attorney's Office until 2006, when he began work at the law office of Benjamin Brafman, who, by the way, repped Diddy in his trial regarding the New York nightclub shooting. You may remember Diddy was charged with illegal violations and bribery charges in that case after a shooting broke out near Times Square in 1999. No one was injured.
Agnifilo is a member of various bar associations, including the New York State Bar, the State of New Jersey Bar, and the U.S. District Courts for the Southern and Eastern Districts of New York and the District of New Jersey. He's also admitted to the Supreme Court of the United States and the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Second Circuit. Before representing Diddy, Agnifilo handled many high-profile cases. He defended Keith Rainier, the founder of NXIVM, which started as a multi-level marketing company but was later described as a cult-like group. Rainier faced charges of exploitation and racketeering, and in 2019 was sentenced to 120 years in prison and fined $1.75 million.
Maintains his innocence. He does plan on appealing, and we do think we have some substantial grounds for an appeal. I think Keith is comfortably in that class of defendants who should not one day die alone in prison. And so a fair sentence, I think, would give him the ability to have hope that one day he can.
Agnifilo also represented Roger Ng, a former Goldman Sachs employee convicted in 2022 of bribery and corruption related to the Malaysian Sovereign Wealth Fund. During closing arguments, the prosecutor stated, "The harm to the people of Malaysia is immeasurable. It is deeply unfair to everyone else who plays by the rules," as reported by the LA Times.
He called him a double big who lied repeatedly and was only going to testify against Ng to save himself, is what he said.
Patricia, what are the expectations on what else we can hear through these proceedings? We're expecting this to go for potentially another month or longer.
Yeah, what the government is starting to do right now is they have a current Goldman Sachs banker that worked on the 3 transactions, bond transactions behind 1MDB. And they're basically...
Ng's defense team argued that he was being unfairly blamed for others' crimes. Roger is basically the fall guy for this whole thing, Agnifilo said at the time. On September 16th, following Diddy's arrest, Agnifilo spoke to TMZ, expressing frustration with the case. "We are disappointed with the decision to pursue what we believe is an unjust prosecution of Mr. Combs by the U.S. Attorney's Office," he said. Agnifilo described Diddy as an imperfect person, but not a criminal. He also told TMZ that Diddy had voluntarily moved to New York the previous week to assist with the investigation. "These are the acts of an innocent man with nothing to hide, and he looks forward to clearing his name in court," Agnifilo explained. Agnifilo, who previously faced federal prosecutors in a RICO case involving NXIVM leader Keith Rainier, has a history of defending high-profile clients such as Martin Shkreli, Dominique Strauss-Kahn, and Roger Ng. Having spent nearly 20 years working with ex-Harvey Weinstein lawyer Ben Brafman, Agnifilo brings significant experience to this case. The big question now is how the powerhouse legal team plans to tackle the serious accusations of human exploitation.
I'm usually the only one who really cares. I'm like a lifeboat. And I will tell you, I think I have the hardest job of any professional. I'm not like a cardiologist. I'm not even like an oncologist. No one's ever happy to see me when they first come there. But unlike people, just as you said, unlike people who are sick, they have a support system in place. People rally to the support. I deal with the fact that you're only looking at not only the loss of your freedom, but public humiliation, loss of a career. It's devastating. I think I've talked more people out of committing suicide than most psychiatrists in the world.
Is that right?
Yes. I've had people in my office say to me, my family would be better off if I were dead, and I have to bite.
Last year, singer Cassie Ventura filed a lawsuit against Sean Combs, accusing him of exploitation and a decade of physical maltreatment. The allegation shocked the music industry and launched an avalanche of legal claims against the mogul. It also launched one of the most high-profile federal intimate crimes investigations in recent years. On September 17th, prosecutors outlined their findings, describing a large-scale criminal operation where Combs, also known as Diddy, allegedly exploited women with the help of his business empire starting in 2008. He pled not guilty the next day. If convicted, the 54-year-old faces a sentence ranging from 15 years to life in prison. As the founder of Bad Boy Entertainment and a major figure in the commercialization of hip-hop, Combs' estimated net worth of $1 billion adds another layer of attention to the case. To defend himself, he has turned to Mark Agnifilo, a seasoned attorney with a strong track record in complex racketeering cases involving criminal enterprises. Agnifilo, a former Manhattan Assistant District Attorney and supervisor at the U.S. Attorney's Office, worked closely for nearly 2 decades with Combs' longtime lawyer, Ben Brafman. Brafman, affectionately nicknamed Uncle Benny by Combs, has represented him in numerous high-profile cases over the years.
And I have to bite my tongue and not say, you're right, because for the next couple of years, they're going to go through living. If everything works perfectly, we're going to be able to save you, but it's got to work perfectly. And you've got to be fortunate, and there's got to be some divine intervention, and you've got to be quiet for the next 2 years while everyone in the city is, and the world perhaps, is kicking, the head. view, and we got to sit in there and take it on the chin, but the objective is to win.
Do you have to...
Brofman successfully defended Combs in the criminal trial stemming from a 1999 nightclub shooting in New York, and later handled several civil suits, including accusations of essaying a partygoer and threatening a choreographer on Making the Band. Brofman also represented Combs when Ventura filed her lawsuit, which ultimately set off the current criminal investigation. Now in his 70s, Brofman's legacy is deeply intertwined with his decades-long work for Combs.
To believe 100% in the innocence of your client, or is your job to ensure that the opposition, the prosecution, can't prove 100% your client's guilty?
Every case is different, every case is fact-specific, but it's never my job to determine whether my client is 100% guilty or 100% innocent. I have found in life that there rarely is black and white. There's a lot of gray. And in most of the cases I work on, white-collar cases, for example, the facts are rarely in dispute. It's what was in the person's state of mind at the time he or she did what they're accused of. My job is to make the system work fairly. America needs good criminal defense lawyers because we keep the government at check and we keep the system working properly. And when you have the government on your tail, it's daunting. It's overwhelming. Most people panic, and it's unlike any other adversary. It's the government. It's the United States of America against X, and the only one standing next to X is me.
Earlier this year, Mark Agnifilo and two colleagues left their previous firm to start their own boutique criminal law practice. Agnifilo and one of those colleagues, Tenny Garagos, now leading Sean Combs' defense, have a history of representing high-profile clients accused of serious crimes. This legal team is known for assembling top-tier criminal defense lawyers with aggressive strategies for handling men accused of harsh venereal crimes. Notable collaborators have included Arthur Idalia, who represented Harvey Weinstein, and Jennifer Bonjean, who defended R. Kelly and Bill Cosby. I specialize in sensitive and high-profile matters, Agnifilo has said, referring to his experience with cases brought by the Southern District of New York. His past work includes high-profile prosecutions like the black market website Silk Road and the international exploitation ring linked to Governor Eliot Spitzer's downfall. This same U.S. Attorney's Office is now prosecuting Combs. Combs retained Agnifilo and Garagos in March to handle his federal case. By September 17th, Agnifilo revealed in court that they had spent 6 months preparing for the expected charges, including interviewing multiple witnesses. Agnifilo's approach to the case is clear: challenge the government's narrative head-on. He argues that the women and adult workers involved with Combs interacted with him willingly, whether for money, career opportunities, or personal relationships. "We are not merely making general denials of guilt," Agnifilo wrote in a September 18th letter regarding Combs' bail denial. Rather, we are advancing detailed, specific facts that undermine the government's theory at its core. According to Agnifilo, the exploitation charge centers on a single accuser, Combs' ex-girlfriend Cassie Ventura. While their decade-long relationship was toxic, Agnifilo maintains that no intimate crimes occurred. Using a strategy often seen in celebrity defense cases, he plans to portray Ventura as a resentful ex who aimed for a financial windfall by threatening to sue Combs and write a tell-all book about their relationship.
We believe in him wholeheartedly. He didn't do these things. This was a 10-year relationship. There's no coercion. There's no crime. There's basically just, someone who brought a civil case and now is finding themselves as a witness in a criminal case.
We are now in a position where the only person alleged to be a victim extorted Combs on audio tape and profited millions of dollars, Agnifilo stated in a court filing. We have countless written communications that tend to negate any lack of consent and any coercion. Whether the lawsuit and settlement will be admitted at this trial is yet to be decided. Combs' team argues it's vital to Ventura's credibility, while prosecutors claim it could unfairly bias the jury. Consent is expected to be a major issue during the trial. Agnifilo pointed out that the government didn't claim Ventura objected to involving third parties in their intimate encounters. He said 6 men interviewed denied seeing signs of coercion, intoxication, or non-consent. Does everybody have experience with being intimate this way? No, Agnifilo remarked during a September 17th hearing. Is it exploitation? No, not if everybody wants to be there.
And we're going to fight this case with everything we have, as is he, and eventually he's going to be shown to be innocent. And so tomorrow we fight again, and we'll fight every day until we don't have to fight anymore. I don't get into that stuff.
Okay. How about the twins? Are they being
However, Ventura's allegations paint a different picture and are likely to be a focal point of the trial. In her lawsuit, she described being trapped by Combs in a cycle of maltreatment, harmful acts, and exploitation. She accused him of physical wrongdoings, including punching, kicking, and stomping, and claimed he demanded she perform intimate acts with other men. The complaint also alleges that Combs would pay to fly male adult workers to meet him in various locations, both in the U.S. and abroad, with his staff reportedly assisting in making these arrangements. Ventura claimed that when she tried to leave, Combs used his vast network of corporations and affiliated entities to track her down and coerce her into returning. One 2011 incident described in a lawsuit involved Combs allegedly lunging at her with a corkscrew and essaying her after his network of enforcers followed her to Kid Cudi's home, where she had sought refuge. The lawsuit also alleged that Cudi's car was set on fire with a Molotov cocktail as retaliation. In another instance, Ventura claimed Bad Boy Management threatened to shelve her single unless she took Combs' calls. The racketeering charge is likely to be a bigger challenge for Combs to fight than the exploitation accusation, as Agnifilo has pointed out in his writings and lectures. RICO, Racketeer, Influenced, and Corrupt Organizations Act, isn't about a single crime. It's a way to prosecute a pattern of criminal activity. It's been used in a wide range of cases, from homicide to insider trading to exploitation. The prosecution just needs to prove that at least 2 criminal acts took place over a specific time period, that the defendant knew about the conspiracy, and that it involved more than just them. Agnifilo addressed one aspect of the racketeering case related to guns seized from Combs' home, arguing that the weapons actually belonged to security staff. How they do it, whether they did it right, whether they did it wrong, whether they should have had an AR-15 with no serial number, you know what? Not for us to say. He said at the September 17th hearing, not his gun.
I mean, he has a big house he buys in bulk. You know, I think they have Costco's in every place where he has a home. I mean, have you sat in the parking lot of a Costco and see what people walk out of there with?
Backing Agnifilo is Tenny Garagos, who also worked with Ben Brofman. She is the daughter of well-known LA attorney Mark Garagos, who has a long history of working with Brofman, including on the Michael Jackson child SA case. In recent years, Brofman represented Mark Garagos when he became involved in Michael Avenatti's extortion case related to Nike. Agnifilo's wife, Karen Friedman Agnifilo, who used to work as a top deputy in the Manhattan District Attorney's Office, also has ties to Garagos' firm. She co-hosts a podcast critical of Trump with Ben Meiselas, one of Garagos' law partners. Garagos, with her experience defending clients accused of physical misconduct, is expected to take on a sensitive job of cross-examining the women accusing Combs. Defense teams often prefer female attorneys for this kind of questioning, as juries might be more sensitive to men questioning women about allegations of SA. A similar strategy was used by Donna Rotano during the Weinstein trial after Brofman and Agnifilo left his defense team. With Combs being denied bail, he'll have to prepare his defense while staying at the MDC in Brooklyn. This is the same facility where an inmate was assassinated earlier this summer and is known for its dangerous and unsanitary conditions. His legal team is working on getting him transferred to a safer place. So, what's Agnifilo saying about Diddy? He's calling this case an unjust prosecution. He acknowledges Diddy's flaws, understatement of the year, but firmly argues he's no criminal. It's as if he's saying, sure, my client isn't perfect, but he's not the villain they're all making him out to be. Agnifilo even points out that Diddy moved to New York on his own to cooperate, hoping to show he has nothing to hide. See, my client's just here to help, he seems to be signaling.
Mr. Combs came to New York on September 5th. As soon as we realized that this indictment was going to be coming down in a matter of weeks, maybe months, but sometime soon, Mr. Combs...
But Agnifilo is up against a huge challenge. With the feds pushing hard and new allegations coming in almost every day, he'll need all his skills to get Diddy out of this mess. If anyone can pull off a courtroom miracle, though, it's probably Agnifilo.
We talk about the Rainier case. The case was overwhelming against him. That doesn't mean he had a weak defense attorney. Mark Agnifilo has been successful in many cases. He used to work for Ben Brafman, who, by the way, represented Sean Combs years before. And so I'm not sure that defines who he is. Obviously, if someone walked into a courtroom and saw him doing an ineffective cross-examination, then maybe we would change our mind. But I don't think the fact that he lost a case such as the one we're talking about right now has any indication that he's not fully capable of handling this case.
As this legal drama unfolds, one thing is certain, it's going to be a spectacle. In fact, some are calling it the trial of the century. Will Agnifilo manage to keep Diddy out of prison, or is the music mogul facing a future behind bars?
With Diddy's lawyer, in fact, in our documentary, which, by the way, is streaming right now on Tubi, The Downfall of Diddy, the indictment. And what he said was, look, we are going to move for a speedy trial. And he had a sense that the feds didn't have all of their ducks in a row, and he wants to exploit that, and he wants to go to trial, and he wants to do it quickly. So that may be the best resolution, just in terms of giving him the ability to make his case if he's found not guilty, where obviously he would go free. But I agree with Jason. I just do not see that happening.
Well, the new law.
What lies ahead for Diddy? From dominating the charts to possibly serving time, Diddy's journey from music mogul to potential prisoner shows that fame and fortune don't always protect you from the law. His once imposing empire seems to be falling apart under the weight of its legal troubles and shocking allegations. As we watch this case unfold, it's clear it could have a huge impact on the entertainment world. Diddy's legacy is shifting, and it's a remix no one expected. The result of this trial could affect not just Diddy, but the entire hip-hop and Hollywood scenes.
Allegations and evidence, I think Diddy is going to surely need a dream team, much like OJ, and we are looking forward to the trial of a sin.
We got Akon at the airport, and the way he spoke about this, to me, just underscores the fact that Hollywood generally has not, spoken out. And he's
speaking, but he's explaining why
he's not
saying much, and why others aren't even saying what he's saying.
So listen carefully to this.
I think the business in itself has taken a shift. If you look at it from a spiritual perspective, music hasn't been the greatest role model for our youth. If you look at it these days. So I just think it's a spiritual shift that's happening, and we just got to sit back and relax and watch. Mind our own business, and whatever people are doing on their personal time is something they have to deal with on their own.
The idea of the government seeing, somebody as a target for their success. I mean, at least that's how the lawyer's playing it. It's not the first time we've heard this rhetoric. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's a defense mechanism. At the end of the day, we got to all sit back and let it play out.
This has all been a sickening journey, to say the least. But what's your take on all this? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. That's all for today. We hope you absorbed a lot from that video, and if you did, make sure to hit like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more videos like this.